welcome back to the Mr. Arsenal podcast. I have survived the week. I haven't passed out of sleep, put it that way, after my 25 hours of man. So I did. Basically a match preview for tomorrow. The Premier League is back. I don't know if it's a good thing or bad thing for an Arsenal fan at the moment, but it will take it our stride. You can see I'm joined by Steve and Adam already. I've got one more guest on his way. As soon as he gets backstage, I'll obviously bring him into the podcast / stream. But yeah, guys, how have we coped with the international break? Have we enjoyed the lack of Arsenal football, or have you missed it?
In a sick way, I've missed it. I've got to be honest, because I kind of thought after those initial 3 games, we could kick on. So for me, I've been quite looking forward to getting going again. I mean, it was nice to not have the anxiety for a couple of weeks, I suppose. That was quite nice. But now it's coming back with a game tomorrow. But yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, I do like international football, but I do think when it comes to the qualifying, they're much more formality-based football. You know what I mean? They're not that exciting. So, I'm all for league football coming back.
Yeah, what about yourself, Steve?
It's like in the words of COVID, isn't it? It's almost like we've had a fire break. So we've had 2 weeks off of, all the negativity. And I know it's not the start of the season, but it just feels a little bit like we go again. Got a new... Seems like all the players are back in training. So we could be looking at picking from a, full strength squad. Be a lot of new players coming in. I mean, looks like Gabriel and Ben White will play. Partey looks like he's back.
They're training.
Pardon?
They're back in training. I've seen the videos now.
Yeah, exactly. So, whether the Japanese lad will play or not, don't know. But I'm quite looking forward to see him play on the videos I've seen, So, again, we've gone for a player that nobody put their money on to sign, didn't we? And then suddenly everybody's watching him on YouTube, thinking he's great. So, we'll see.
Well, the other guest that's going to come on soon is due on any minute, basically. He has his own thoughts, and they're not positive, put it that way, on Tommy. And he wants his Italian football more than me, so I take his word for it more than what I would. But yeah, as you said, it's like Adam said, in a sick sort of way, because of international football, what it is, I don't have that same... I haven't for years had that same sort of excitement for international football for years, and yeah, it was a nice get away from the Arsenal, the negativity, especially the negativity around the club, basically Arteta, Edu, the transfers, everything was being looked at with a fine microscope, basically. And it, as you said, it's a bit of a nice breakaway just to get away from it all. Get social media just to calm the fuck down, especially. I mean, it's popped up in the last 24 hours, but that's not a matter. But it's good to see, obviously, and as Steve says, it's good to see that also Partey, Gabriel, all the players that we've had out injured so far this season are back training. And there's no real excuse of us not getting a win tomorrow. But and that's the thing, because of the first 3 games, especially the Brentford game, more so because we sort of expected not to win, getting anything from the Man City Chelsea games, respectively. But because of how we went down against Brentford the way we did, this game tomorrow, there's a lot of pressure, not just on Arteta and the club in general, because to the newly promoted teams so close to the season starting, and this time, you won't have the excuse of lack of players and things like that. It's going to be interesting, and I hope for Arteta's case that he hasn't lost a dressing room, that he actually has got. It's just had the lack of player personnel not being available, his best players and all that. You have to. The thing is, you can't just win the 1-0 or 2-0. We've got to, because of how bad things are, and how much of a meme the club has become with all the other fan bases and all that. We've got to lay a marker down and absolutely tear Norwich to pieces. Actually, for once, show no mercy. Because if we win 1-0 or 2-0, it's only a 1-0, 2-0. You sort of be more this, that, and the other. We've just got to send that message like now our season starts.
It's got to be a 4-0 minimum, isn't it?
Yeah.
You've got to be looking at 3 or 4 as an absolute minimum. And, you go from there. Then you get that game under your belt, you get a win. Suddenly you're not on the bottom anymore, and you just start looking upwards, don't you? And you start planning for the next one. It was Wimbledon, and then yeah, then we go again, don't we? So,
lonely, isn't it?
and it's the first time we played on a Saturday at 3:00 since December, apparently.
Oh, bloody hell. It feels longer though. It does actually feel longer than that.
You know, so it's I've got to find a can't go, so I've got to find a stream somewhere. So that'd be interesting. But you know, I'm looking forward to it in a weird sort of way. I'm just looking forward to seeing the players he would have started game one if they would have all been available.
Yeah.
You know, because you can still go back to the game and half the side wouldn't have started that game under normal circumstances.
Well, we had Aubameyang, Lacazette, and Willian and someone else were out with COVID on that day. Plus, had the party injury as well. Gabriel was coming back from it, was still in injury, not in training. So yeah, got a point. Half of it, what would be his first 11, was out for either injuries or illness.
And he would have played. The tactics would have been for those players to be available, wouldn't it? So the game would have been set up for all those players to play. And of course, when they didn't, you suddenly had, you know, Martinelli and Balogun playing from the off, which, you know, would never have happened, would it, under normal circumstances? And Brentford were always going to be up for that game in a massive way, weren't they? For them, that was a massive game.
It's our first top flight game over, was it 70 odd years? First Premier League game full stop, and the first game with fans in since match day, or since literally they left Griffin Park.
I'm just looking forward now. I'm just take the positive view and just looking ahead rather than looking what happened before. Let's just hit the ground running on Saturday and then go from there.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Adam, what are your thoughts on that? And obviously, is it a good point to bring up that literally we did have half of our squad missing for the Brentford game, and maybe with that we might see tomorrow a different result, hopefully, touch wood.
I think that is definitely fair. I mean, I got to be honest with you, like, I always try and be positive, but I actually thought Brentford would be a tough game for the reasons what were just mentioned. You know, they were going to be bang up for it. The thing that annoyed me about Brentford the most, we knew as fans how Brentford were going to attack that game. We knew what their gameplay was going to be. We knew the fans were up for it, and the players just looked shell-shocked. Like, they didn't expect it. I think that's down to the coaching, but that's another angle. But you're right. I mean, I think that now we should have, if not our first choice 11, damn near close to what should be our first choice 11 out tomorrow. And it might not click into play first game, but I do expect to win tomorrow. I do expect a better performance. And I've gone for 4-1. I just think if we can go at them and get an early goal, settle us down, you know, I think we'll be all right. I do think we'll be all right. And I think if the fans can actually get behind the team, make a positive, like, you know, atmosphere, you know, not let it go toxic, then that's going to play a massive part as well. Because if it doesn't start well and maybe we get off to a shaky start and Norwich have a couple of chances, you know, it's going to be bad. It's going to be terrible, you know, because, you know, the fans are going to then turn. Some of the new players who maybe haven't played in front of the fans before are going to get a bit shaky maybe. As we said before, we don't maybe have the leaders in the team to pull us forward. So I think getting a strong start is absolutely vital tomorrow.
Well, I mean, the atmosphere at the stage is going to be like going into that, fans that are going, you'll be able to cut it with a fucking knife, basically. That's what I'm trying to say. And it's going to be very tense for the first few minutes of the game, because as we've seen in the previous two games, especially against Chelsea and City, respectively, we start off well, the opening exchanges, and then once one got, if they counter us on the break and score against a run of play, our heads drop, and that's it. It's sort of down tools, that's it, game over sort of thing. The players that have been playing it, and it's going to be interesting with the players that are coming back that haven't been in that situation yet. See if that was to happen, how they react as well, and also how the fans react. Because imagine if we start off well, say 15, 20 minutes, we're on top, dominating, and then literally one moment of stupidness of someone, and we're 1-0 down. That place will be absolutely toxic.
Yeah, I think obviously we're saying about, you know, the players coming back to the back four. But the reality is they haven't actually played as a back four before, have they? So they've still got to build up that understanding. I mean, what I want to see, you know, bottom line is we have to win. Second is we don't want to pick up any injuries. You don't want to see Partey going off after 70 minutes with, you know, holding his hip or groin or Gabriel limping off. We just want to get through the game, win it well, not pick up any injuries, and then go forward from there. If we go 1-0 down, well, we know our recent history about coming back from 1-0 down at half time. It just doesn't happen, does it? So, we just can't afford to concede.
Anyway.
No. So, it's got to be a positive start, plenty of energy, create chances, and actually take some of those chances.
I mean, Steve in the chat, the Arsenal Mystery, is asking, who would you guys start as keeper tomorrow? I'll let you guys answer that one first. I'll start with you, Steve, with that one.
Well, I ran a poll on Twitter and 70% came back Ramsdale. So, I think that's the fans' choice. I don't think he'll start Ramsdale, but you never know. Arteta's quite capable of doing something like that. And I'd back it. I mean, why not? I think Lino's come out again and said he's going to be off next year. So why not start the boy? That's a good game. It's a good game from the start.
Agree.
So
I agree. Lino's made it.
Sorry.
Leno's made it perfectly clear he doesn't want to be at the club.
Exactly.
So Ramsdale has made it clear he wants to be. So I think, like you just said, as far as games go, this is as good a game as there's going to be to the debut. I think so.
If Ramsdale comes in and plays well when we win with a clean sheet, then what do you do Wednesday? Do you play Leno in the Carabao Cup and keep Ramsdale in for the first 11?
I would, personally, because I like to tell you one game. I want the biggest Ramsdale fans, as you know, Steve, when we're linked to him. But I'm not going to judge it by the one game. I've seen Ramsdale in an Arsenal shirt. But he commands the box. He's up like this. He commands the box and he's good with his feet. There's times when he gets the ball, he's not that unsettledness when he plays out from the when Arteta wants him playing out from the back. There's not unsettledness from the goalkeeper that completely knocks the confidence out of everyone else because he's literally holding on to it too long, or he rushes it and gives it to the opposition or things like that. Ramsdale actually gets the ball, and I've seen where he just pings it to the midfield across the floor.
Yeah,
I've never seen
confidence to do that.
Yeah. And he comes out. He makes his presence known in the box, whereas Leno's never done that.
I think with Leno, he's obviously a great shot stopper, but I think there's more to being a goalkeeper in the modern game than just being a great shot stopper. You've got to be able to command the box. You've got to be able to release the ball. You've got to be able to pass the ball out. You've got to look confident when the ball comes back to you, and you're looking to pick out, a player. Whenever Leno gets the ball at his feet, he always looks a bit uncomfortable. So it's only sort of, is he going to pass it to the right player? And I think Ramsdale doesn't do that for me, from what I've seen so far, anyway.
I mean, I've got to agree with you, but we're only basing it on one. We can base it on that one game, but yeah. I mean, Colin, Tommy Ashley's favourite fan in the world, Colin's joined us in the stream.
Listen, it's not that he's my favourite or nothing. Yeah, it's just he was a panic buy last minute. That's the issue I had with it. That's the only issue I had with it. I don't actually think. I never said once he was terrible.
Oh no.
I just questioned the timing of it. It was very questionable. And I don't think anyone could disagree with that.
Well, I think they looked at him for a while, though, haven't they? They actually looked at him for a few months when they're not.
That's if you believe them,
that
though.
Morning. Sorry?
That's if you believe them, though, because they put that out almost immediately after they signed him to kind of calm the wolves from latching at them. That's what that was. But whether he's a success or not, that to me at this point in time is irrelevant, because the main issue we have, and I don't know if you guys have touched on this yet, but the midfield picks itself though, because we've only got 2 available midfielders.
Yeah, it's been forced into it. Yeah.
With El Neni being out for 3 weeks and Xhaka being suspended. And then Edu's got the let's just say he's got the balls to say, I'm happy with Xhaka and Partey. Yeah, all right, mate. All right. Sweet.
Is Lokonga fit? Do we know if Lokonga is actually fit?
Well, nothing's been reported to suggest that he isn't. So
he didn't play for Belgium, did he? Was he out of the Belgian squad because of an injury?
I think I think they're just using sparingly because it's his first call-up, wasn't it? So I think they're just using him. Right. They didn't want to rush him and give him the bus to his head.
Lokonga was great. I mean, I thought he played really well in pre-season. There's no reason why he shouldn't have started, and carried on through, really.
But there is. It's called Granit Xhaka, apparently.
The argument now is it Xhaka and then on any out, so you can't play either of those. I mean, he's more likely to go with Maitland-Niles, isn't he? Stick him in the middle.
Well, it's pretty similar to last year if you think about it. I mean, we were going for that bad spell back in November, going into Boxing Day. He fell into a solution of obviously Smith Rowe, Martinelli, Saka, and Lacazette, and that sort of got him out of a massive hole. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
It's sort of like full circle again, where due to suspensions and injuries, he may have just fall into a perfect solution in midfield tomorrow for pivot with the pivot. Because part of his experience from his Atletico days still now, Lokonga will lend off that and he'll thrive off that, and the way they both play as well can only benefit our midfield. And obviously, Partey's got the now to, if Lokonga's going to burst forward, he'll drop back a bit and protect the back line. They'll communicate as well. That's the thing. They're not going to bomb forward and leave a massive gap for the defence to sort out if they get caught in the counter.
Yeah, I mean, I think Partey for me is potentially the best defensive midfielder in the league, but he's got to play some games. He's got to play some consecutive games and get into a flow. It's no good playing 2 or 3 games, picking up an injury and being out for 4 weeks. That's not going to work, is it? So, but I'm pretty sure he's going to be the linchpin going forward, and it's just a question of who plays alongside him, really. And at the moment, it could be Lokonga, couldn't it?
I hope so, because I hope it works. I hope it's all again like it was like last year. Briefly, it gave a rocket up Arteta's arse, and he realises actually this is a partnership that's beneficial because come what was it in January? Is it February time? We've got the African Cup of Nations, so we're going to lose Partey anyway, and El Neni. Obviously, with all that we've now heard in the last 24 hours, there's a recall clause in the contract with Pompey for Miguel Aziz. So there's and also we've got Adrian Maitland-Niles as well as an option because he says he wants to play there. I don't know what's going on there, but it is what it is. Other than that, if they don't pull back Aziz and they don't have faith in Maitland-Niles, for at least a month and a half, we're going to have a partnership at least. Because that's what the options we've got at the moment of Granit and Lokonga. So I'd rather have Lokonga play along someone like Partey now, before then, so he's learning off someone of that ilk, so then he doesn't feel like he's got to learn off someone else who makes constant mistakes, and he can just, with all due respect, ignore Granit when it comes to fucking stupid moments, so we say.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think with the Xhaka situation, he'll come back in. But I mean, there was even some talk of Chambers playing in that sort of.
He played there for fun, didn't he?
And if Partey's missing, Xhaka's not playing. Who else plays as a defensive midfield player? We don't really have anybody else for that.
And that's on the club sort because they knew the situation. Lokonga aside, they knew the situation of what it was. We needed more on midfield than just Lokonga, with all due respect. He started off well, and that's fantastic. I don't want it because I don't want us to do what we did with Guendouzi. Came in, had a good pre-season. We just throw him under the bus and go, "Hey, off you go, have a run of games and have you burn out and get cocky at the same time, and it all kick off in the long run." We needed again. There's a lot. What's he? 19, 20 years. That's a lot of pressure to put on a young lad who's still learning his trade. No matter what people say, he's still learning. It's a new league as well. It's not a more physical, demanding, and fast-paced league than what you see in Belgium. It's going to take it out.
He looks pretty solid though, doesn't he? He's got a good build for a young lad like that, and I think
got
he'll
the
blossom
athleticism.
playing with some games. I think he'll blossom.
Yeah.
And what I like about him, he's always looking forward. You know, he's not looking for the easy square pass.
Yeah.
Look, he's always looking. So if he gives the ball away, well, fair play. If you try to be positive and you give the ball away, great.
No, he's positive.
And that's another reason why I want him to play alongside Partey, because Partey, as we saw in pre-season, where he got that injury, he was doing the same thing. He was getting the ball and he's running forward with it. And I want him to. That's why I want him to play alongside Partey where he can until obviously New Year, so he can learn more and get growing more confidence, believing in what he's doing, and with someone alongside him, even though it's the next person that will obviously go alongside him in the month and a half period goes backwards, he'll ignore that and he'll go, no, I've learned off this person. I know I've played with this person. It does work. I'm not listening to you. I'm going forward with the ball, because that's been a massive ball ache with not just Granit Xhaka but Elneny as well. They both get the ball. No matter what sort of who we're playing, they get the ball. We have a bit of tempo going forward, and suddenly they stop. 2 seconds, turn around, and go backwards again, and they completely nullified what we've just done for the previous 10 seconds getting forward.
I think that's been a problem. Our transition from defence to attack has been too slow. You know, we get the ball, there's no one to keep the ball moving forward, so you end up sideways and letting everybody catch up. And by then, the defending team have had a chance to regroup and are ready for us. Whereas back in the day, once we got the ball in midfield, our wing players were forward of the midfielder before you knew where you were. They had people to pass to, whereas our team doesn't seem to do that currently.
Well, we just had him for a second. I'll try and get him back soon. Quite a few people were sort of saying about the only reason which we had the previous comment, the only reason Granit's here because of his distribution, even though he constantly lets us down. But again, that's down to the club. They had a whole summer. Yeah. Where at one point it looked like it was going. They had a whole summer to then go and get someone that's an upgrade on him, and they didn't.
This is why I took issue with what Edu said, Ryan. Right, because ultimately, right, when you look at this team, right, and I can only speak for myself in this matter, but with Arsenal and this squad, because let's be real, it's bang average. All right, let's not be around the bush. Bang average. Okay. We don't know what we're going to get Saturday. And that to me is an issue because when I look at this team, I have no idea what Arsenal is going to show up on Saturday. Is it the Arsenal that showed up against? Is it going to be the Arsenal that showed up for the first 3 games? If that's the case, we're in trouble. Because the second we conceded a goal, what happened in those 3 games? Heads dropped.
Like, yeah, exactly. That's what I
mean. Does anyone seriously know what Arsenal we're going to get on Saturday? Because I don't. I look at this team and I go, I don't know. There's so many questions with this Arsenal team to the point where you just don't know. That shouldn't happen at all.
Well, part of my 24-hour stream the other day, Kevin Campbell came on for about half hour or so, and he literally said, he makes a good point. This team, certain players that have been here for the last 5 years, under back into Wenger's time, Unai Emery, briefly under Freddie for a few weeks, and now Arteta, they're still here. And them players that are letting Wenger down, letting Emery down, letting Freddie down for that brief period, and now doing it again with Arteta, they're still at the club. How is that? What other club allows that to happen? Allows these players to remain at the club? I don't know. People go, it was COVID, they put them on high wages. They didn't have a problem cancelling their contracts back in January. Lots of Mesut Ozil and Mustafi and all that just to get them off the books. But all of a sudden, we're tight with change all of a sudden. I mean, we've got
the problem is that nobody wants our players, do they? Let's be honest.
That's pretty damning as well. That's
all the
for
players
a club at Arsenal.
All the players have been moved out. We've only actually sold 1 player, haven't we? I might be wrong.
Yeah.
We've only sold
Joe
2. All the others have gone on loan or cancelled contracts. I mean, Kolasinac was supposed to be going out the door. Suddenly he's playing.
Yeah.
Xhaka was, on the plane. And suddenly he's not going. Maitland-Niles wants to go, but now he's not going. And you just think Nketiah was going to go, but then there's a problem with wages, so he's not gone. And it just goes on and on and on, doesn't it?
And what made the Nketiah thing even worse is that Vieira and Palace went, okay, then no worries. we're going to get a even better striker from Celtic, in Edward. And I'm thinking, for £5 million, that money we could have got for Eddie, we could have used that a bit more and got Edward, and that would have massively improved us. But no, we've improved because of personal terms, and of Murray's part. That's going to improve them slightly because he's a good. I think he's a good striker. I think he'll do well once he settles in and all that.
But half these
What was
players
it? Even
go
Vanarson
next year, aren't they?
Yeah,
half these players are going to go
half the players.
free.
Yeah, I think Hector Bellerin's one of them as well. I mean, we spent the whole summer sending Inter Milan with it stick it because they wanted a loan with an option to buy of 25 or 30 mil, I think it was, something like that, give or take. And we told them no. Deadline day, Real Batiste coming just a loan, no option to buy, no nothing. We go, okay, no problem, because we panicked because Inter Milan didn't come back, and we were like, oh, we're the only option. We don't want you here. Piss off. And what was it? Vanarson, we spent £1 million, £1 million last year on Vanarson. And we can't even sell him to a team I've never heard of in Belgium, even for the cut down price or whatever. It was massive, as Colin knows, it was massively frustrating to witness this in the closing stages of deadline day because I just want I want us to move forward. We can't move forward. We've got players in the books that are not good enough. And yeah, as you said, half of them are going to be out of contract. I think it's Lacazette. Reece Nelson's extended, so he's got a further year added on to his contract. But Ainsley's coming up to the end of his contract. Eddie's got end of his contract. Trying to think now, bloody hell. Kolasinac coming to the end of his contract. Bellerin, I think, as well. It's half the squad, and they're getting no money for it. I mean, again, massive criticism has to come back on not just Edu, but the entire board in general that have allowed us to get into this situation. Because it's not like it's just an overnight thing that we never. Raul, when he was at the club, remember that interview we did with Royal Woods in the Vinay, when he said, from now on, when you hit the last 2 years of a contract, that's when we'll start negotiating quickly there. If we get no early progress, you're out the door. Well, hang on. You said since then, we're letting everyone go for pretty much nothing. Ozil had a year, Ozil was in the last 6 months of his contract. We actually had to pay him to go to Fenerbahce and then continue to pay his wages for the last 6 months of his what contract he would have had at Arsenal. And now there's words that he wants out of Fenerbahce all of a sudden and things like this. And then we've got Mustafi. It was like we had to pay Mustafi to leave. We're having to pay players to leave because the recruitment. It's not just Edu now. It's been a long time coming. A long time building up.
It's not just been the last year, is it? It's been the last 5 years, isn't it?
And obviously he's inherited that situation. He can't help it in that sense. But again, that's where I go back to the ownership and that they've allowed. No matter if they're football fans or not, or soccer fans, sorry. They don't. It just shows they don't care. They're happy to have the money that's thrown against the wall and hope for the best.
Well, here's the thing with that, Ryan. Yeah, see with these owners, all they give a fuck about is money, right?
We're losing money.
But what they don't realize is what is happening now will end up costing them money rather than gaining them money.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying for years. And when that infamous quote came out of saying Kroenke, I didn't buy into Arsenal to win trophies.
Bruv.
Well, hang on. You're a businessman, but you don't want to win silverware and then make your investment 10 times what it is now. What businessman works like that?
The thing about that, right, and that should have been a red flag for everyone. However, what Liverpool have shown and what Man City have shown, success sells. It does. Like, some people can spin it either way and go, oh, well, we can't compete with City financially. Okay, that's fine. No one's asking us to do a Manchester City in any way, shape, or form. I don't think anyone in their right mind would ask us do that, but at least strengthen the first team. And the argument I've made all along is that we haven't done that, and that's the point. Like, when I look at this team, right, okay, Ben White...
That's more long-term, isn't it?
He's essentially the David Luiz replacement, okay? Now, that's not a slight on Ben White at all, but is he... He could be a first-team player in the future, but right now, does he improve this team that much? Me personally,
time will tell, though, won't it? Time will tell.
Yeah, time will tell. But right now, as we're talking now, does he improve this team? In my opinion, no. No. Now, people can hate me all they want for that. Truth be told, I don't really care. All right? I don't really care.
Danny Mills will love you for that, by the way.
I know. Lakonga, right? Let's have a look at him. He's been good, right? For the past three games. Now, that's not difficult to do when everyone else has been utter shit. Right? But at the same time, you have to give him credit for those performances. However, should he be starting week in, week out for Arsenal Football Club? Having just come in from Belgium? No. And what is happening now is that we are becoming the laughing stock. Well, we probably already were, but we are right now, as it stands, the laughing stock of the Premier League. For the simple reason that when you look at how much money was spent, 156 million reported on Sky, I believe it was.
Yeah, give or take, plus add-ons, yeah.
Right. Not improved the first 11 whatsoever, at least in my opinion anyway. People can argue to the cows come home about that, but should be told that's for them to argue amongst themselves. I'm just giving you straight my opinion here. Have we improved the midfield? No. Because if anything, we've actually left us short in midfield with only 4 options there. Like, you could say that Niles could move into midfield, but there's no evidence that will happen because Maitland-Niles has been treated so badly in the past. And if I'm Ainsley Maitland-Niles, I'll be honest, I wouldn't trust them. I wouldn't trust these guys as far as I could throw them after what they did to me. So, in that sense, there's no proof with Niles. Also, we could be forced into putting Charlie Patino into the first team. Now, I'm not advocating that at all. I think that would be ridiculous and, quite frankly, just
career ending as well.
A slight on Charlie Patino, like, because this guy's got something. You can see it just from watching the under-23s. This kid's got something, right? But throwing him into the first 11, like we've done with Lakonga, it's like you said, Ryan, it's a Guendouzi situation all over again. Like, no one wants that. No one wants that. We can see the kid's got talent, but you've got to take your time with these lads.
Got to nurture it and all that, yeah.
Like, you've got to let them develop organically. Same with Amari Hutchinson. Like, you don't throw these kids in. You don't. We were forced into it last.
It's a question of you don't throw them all in at one time, do you? The odd
one, no. Here's the thing, Steve. Yeah, we were forced to do that with Smith Rowe, Martinelli, and Saka last year because the experienced players were absolutely tripe.
Yeah,
that's suspensions.
That's why. But the problem with that is you face a Jack Wilshere situation where there is absolutely no leaders in that team to the point where the young kids are having to drag us through the mud. And that's not fair on them at all. And again, that comes back to the ownership because I don't know how they've looked at that squad and gone, yeah, our midfield options are good enough. Our defensive options are good enough. Our attacking option is good enough. The squad is bang average. That's it. And that's on them. They fucked up. They screwed us over. And now, for all the bad results that could happen, I'm hoping Norwich isn't one of them. But that said, would it surprise me if Norwich got something from the game? Absolutely not. I'd be sitting there and going, yeah, that's just Arsenal all over, isn't it? And also, I seen the stat earlier, and I know I've said stats are for mugs before because they are. But I did see something earlier that piqued my interest, right? Out of all the Premier League clubs, Arsenal have the best record in Premier League matches during the month of September.
Oh, God.
Now, Ryan, you know where I'm going with this. You know where I'm going with this, don't you?
Oh, yeah, go on.
Right? So, by the logic that I'm working with, or the logic that me and Ola work with on a repeated basis, I'm expecting horrific performances during the month of September, because whenever a team needs a win, like Norwich do, they're playing Arsenal, right?
That's day one all over.
Santa Claus, bruv. Santa Claus.
Christmas come early.
Teams are going to be smelling blood right now. If you're another side in the Premier League and you look at your upcoming fixtures and you see Arsenal in there, you are licking your lips at the thought of playing Arsenal right now. Those are the facts.
Yeah, just to touch on what you said before about we're a laughing soccer. We're not just a laughing soccer Premier League, Colin. We're a laughing soccer football in world football at the moment. The memes I've seen for the last, even though the international break, my brother comes to me every day, or TikTok or whatever, and we're just getting memed after meme after meme after meme.
I enjoyed the international break, bruv. I enjoyed it. I didn't have stress in my life. What's so bad about not having stress? Like, I don't have Arsenal to stress me the fuck out during those 2 weeks.
It's pretty damning. I mean, Adam said it earlier that he's excited but nervous at the same time going into a game against Norwich at home. No all due respect to Norwich, but Norwich, it's pretty much a do or die, because much will touch on it. If the worst happens to us, as I emphasise the word if, the worst was to happen tomorrow by some miracle, Norwich put out a result, be it a draw or a win. How does Arteta and the players recover from that going forward?
That's why tomorrow is so important, because I think for Arteta especially, this game is vital for him, because I don't really see there being much way back after that. Confidence in the players is going to be at an all-time low. The confidence in the manager that the players have got will be at an all-time low. I just don't see where he can go from now. So that's why it is so vital. Like, I think tomorrow we'll see whether the players do actually play for him or not. Personally, I think tomorrow we should see whether actually the team he puts out, whether they actually do back Arteta or not. So if you can see desire, you can see like people wanting to actually play for each other, that'll be a real, sign of whether he actually still got that dressing room or not. Whereas if they don't and they put their heads down, then that for me will tell me actually they got no faith in the manager. They just want him out. So that for me will be interesting to see.
I think potentially he's got all 6 of his recent signings potentially could play tomorrow, couldn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's unlikely that he's lost those 6 players already. So I would imagine that those players will be playing for the shirt.
4 of those at least.
Yeah. So I would go against the common
I'd
spread.
expect to see 4 playing tomorrow.
We'll win well tomorrow, and then we'll go on from there.
I'm
not going to keep going on about being negative. But I know we are negative, but I want to be positive and look at where we are now and where we could be Saturday after, 5 o'clock Saturday.
Well, what I would say, and just to play devil's advocate a bit, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You could argue that we've seen that the players weren't playing for him in the first 3 games.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the 6 players that will be back.
Yeah, not those 6, obviously, because they've just come in, right?
Coming from, really, potentially.
However, I'm not sure that 6 players in changes it drastically. I think that's what we'll find tomorrow, whether it does or doesn't.
Yeah. It's a clean slate, isn't it, for a lot of these players? As you say, they've got to turn up tomorrow, and they've got to play for the badge, play with the passion, play with a system that you can see they're playing to a system, and win the game. If that doesn't happen, and it looks a complete mess, and their heads go, then that's a completely different argument at 5 o'clock on Saturday, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because where do you go from there? You've now got your first.
What I don't want to do, Steve. Yeah, I don't want to give the impression that I believe in this manager, because I don't. I'll be honest with you. I don't.
A lot of people don't.
Right. Like I'd be incredibly like, what's the word? I'd be naive in myself to say that I do, right? Because I don't. Like the first 3 games, even though the 6 players haven't been there that we're talking about, right? Even though that they've not been there, right? I've seen nothing in the first 3 games that make me believe in them, right? Now, I'm willing to give these 6 players that have come in a chance. Absolutely. However, right now, when I look at that team, I can't sit here and say that I'm confident going into Norwich. And when you compare that to a few years ago, like, because I still remember when we slapped them when Jack Wilshere scored that absolute peach of a goal.
Yeah.
I still remember that.
I haven't seen it today, actually. I've seen it every day this week. I've not actually seen it today.
Yeah, exactly. Now, when you look at the overall picture, right, and I'm not just talking about the manager situation, the morale, like the way everything's going and stuff like that, there's just so much negativity around the club at the moment. Like you've got Edu, in my opinion, chatting absolute bollocks. That's just my opinion. People can disagree with that if they want. But again, what I will say is I don't disagree with the fact that he's trying to bring in players of a certain profile. That I'm not discounting. But saying that Lacazette's a 15 to 20 goal striker when he's not scored 15 to 20 goals since he's been here, like, bro, like, do you even watch Lacazette? Really? Like, that's mind-boggling to me. And then to say that Xhaka and Partey is good enough, and that's the reason why we didn't sign a midfielder. We've got 4 midfielders. 2 of them not available at the moment. So again, chatting bollocks. However, like I said, I will give these 6 players that have come in a chance. And I'm not just talking one game here. I'm talking a span of games, all right, to where they can prove themselves. Because if I just gave them one game, right, that's ridiculous. Like, because no one can show you what they're about in just 90 minutes. Like, that's just doesn't compute to me. Like, it just doesn't. But as far as tomorrow goes, I don't know. Would I be shocked about if we got a 1-1 draw? No. Would I be shocked if we lost against Norwich? No. Would I be shocked if we won? No. And that's the problem. You can't predict with this Arsenal team. If you think they'll win, then they may win, they may lose, they may draw. Predict a loss, they may win, they may lose, they may draw. Do you see where I'm going? Like, you can't really predict them right now. Until we see a consistent patch of form from this Arsenal team, no one should believe a goddamn word that the club have to say. That's just my view.
There's a lot of defence for Guendouzi as well. Obviously, Sentiment FC were saying before, Emery showed how Guendouzi can be used in the midfield in a positive way without channeling that attitude, without it going overboard. Whereas Arteta's first sign that Guendouzi showed that under Arteta, rightly or wrongly, against we grabbed, was it Mopai by the throat. Arteta just threw him under the bus and went, "No, I can't deal with you. I don't want you here." And it's just, again, it's people say about attitude, but what other players have we got or had at the time that would have their teammates back like that? Because the whole reason he went for Mopai was because Mopai was giving it the big iron because he's got a winning goal after taking out Leno earlier in that game. And all we saw when Leno was getting stretched off was all the captain and all that, everyone shaking Mopai's out. Oh, don't worry, no worries. That was literally, say, what? I'm trying to think now. 15, 16 years ago under the Invincibles, that's the double winning season of the early 2000s team, the Villiers, Roberto, Ray Parler and all that. and a player, even by accident, took out our goalkeeper or player, or whatever, by accident, there'd be a pile up. There'd be an absolute fisticuffs, basically.
They would have gone up and choked the living daylights out of him, Ryan. That's what they would have done.
I think we spoke about it before, didn't we? I think there's an element with Arteta that he makes up his mind about a player.
And that's it.
You know, that's it. There's no change in his mind. So you've seen it with, you know, Ozil to a degree, Guendouzi, Torreira. You know, there's been other players that he's basically just decided, no, you're out, and that's it. You know, there's no. Let's. You know, I've been quite happy to see Guendouzi come back into the side at some point because I think he had a lot of, you know, arrogance, which you wanted in a midfield player, don't you?
Yeah.
A bit of arrogance, a bit of flair, a bit of nastiness we used to have back in the day. You know, Vieira was a great player. He was no angel, though, was he?
No, he was a bastard. Simple as that.
You know, back then he got away with it. He probably wouldn't get away with it now with VAR and, you know, whatnot. But you know, you need players with a bit of you know, a bit of nastiness. Roy Keane, you know, players like that in your middle of your park. Nobody would mess with them, would they? Apart from Vieira and Roy Keane. But
no, but
you know,
Steve, the thing with that though, right, is that you don't have to be effing and blinding to show a bit of aggression to be like, I guess, an aggressive kind of player. Like, because when I look at, I mean, all right, I know we're a million miles off of these teams, right? But when I look at Chelsea, right, Kante is one of the best midfielders in the world, right? He might come off like a nice guy off the pitch, but no one can tell me he doesn't have a ruthless side to him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I'm sure he does. Like the fact he's won major trophy after major trophy just shows that. Like, because the thing with those clubs, Chelsea, Liverpool, City, even United to a degree, they've got, and this is where we don't have this, right? They've got a nice balance of experience and youth in their sides. Whereas with us, it's mostly youth and not so much experience. I know there's like some internationals on our side, but the differences between all of them clubs, it's night and day between when you look at our squad, because our squad mostly consists of young players. And I don't understand the arrogance of Arteta either. It's like I said to Ryan on deadline day, right? This guy legitimately has the ego of Jose Mourinho without 1/4 of the trophy haul. When you're Jose, you can afford to be that arrogant because you've won trophy after trophy after trophy. All Arteta's done is won an FA Cup.
Like, the thing with Arteta is he hasn't come from a successful managerial career. I mean, all these other managers we speak about, the Peps, the Jurgens, and you know, Tuchel, they've come from a winning
they built their career
mentality, either a league or a European trophy. You know, they dealt with top players and they've managed to build teams to win and win. All right, yes, they've spent hundreds of millions of pounds, but then, you know, we've spent 400 odd million in the last few years. I mean, it's not as if we've not supported anybody.
Exactly.
You know? And you know, but Arteta hasn't got that behind him. He hasn't got that experience. He's learning. We're being used really as his learning vehicle. Where he goes from here, if he ended up getting sacked, I don't know, because that doesn't look good on your CV, does it? To go and get another club.
No. And to be honest with you, Steve, right? And I'll make a prediction right now, right? And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but this is where my head's at with him, right? When he gets sacked from Arsenal, because I do think he will get sacked, regardless of the fact of whether we beat Norwich or not, I do feel he'll get sacked. The writing's on the wall and the same articles that were coming out around Emery's sacking are coming out now, right? So the writing's already on the wall for Arteta, right? But where my prediction comes into it, right? Once he gets sacked, I don't think he'll get a job in football again. I really don't. Can anyone honestly name me one club that would take Mikel Arteta on after the shambles that's happened over the last 10 or so months?
Probably not. I mean, no one in England. There's not going to be any top clubs that will be in for Arteta. There may be some lower league sides in Spain or somewhere like that might.
And Yeah, and you have to accept that and bite his
And
lip,
he'd have to
basically.
accept that. If he's going to sit waiting for one of the big clubs to come knocking, that ain't going to happen. He's more likely to go back to City.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
Cheddar's put
so-
a point in the chat here. One sec. Cheddar's is saying in the chat, if a club like Norwich had hired Arteta, it'd be a risk for them.
Exactly. And you know what? What that comment right there, right? This will tie into it. Vieira was a risk for Crystal Palace, right? But they took that gamble. They took that gamble because Vieira, even though he was still an unknown quantity, he had experience behind him.
He has managed, doesn't he? He has managed.
Yeah, he's managed New York City, he's managed Nice, and he's now at Crystal Palace. So he's had 2 jobs before this one. Right? Arteta walked in to Arsenal, nothing behind him except good vibes from Pep Guardiola. That is legit what he walked on.
The thing with Arteta, he's very articulate. You put him in a room with a group of people, and he'd probably be amazed at the stuff he comes out with and think he's the best thing since sliced bread. But the problem is, it's transferring that onto the pitch and making the players make it work. And at the moment, that hasn't happened.
Well, the thing about the whole Pep thing, Steve, yeah. You see, I've got a very, I guess, like a conspiracy theory into how that all goes down, right? Pep bigs up Arteta because he's one of his best mates, right? You're not going to slag off your mates in public, are you? So Pep bigs him up just for that alone, right? But also, and I believe this wholeheartedly as well. I believe that the board listened to Pep Guardiola when he talked about Arteta, saying, "Oh, he's going to be great, this, that, and the other," and they just went off of Pep's word without doing the due diligence. Honestly, it would not surprise me if that was the case, because that's what this board do. They don't do the due diligence. They probably didn't even do the due diligence with Emery either. Like, they probably just looked at the European titles and thought, yeah, he's good enough.
Well, look at the PR when it comes to Emery. Look at the PR they spun on that. That he wasn't top of our list, but when he came in for the interview, but he wowed us in his interview, and that was it. So he spoke a good game, and that was what got him, basically.
So the only thing that's going to keep Arteta in the job then is if he wins pretty much every game. Because as soon as he loses a game, it's going to be the same rhetoric, isn't it? About he's not good enough, and we're going to struggle. And
well, it depends how we lose as well. That's the thing. There's losing, and there's just gutless, uninspiring performances.
You can see it coming. You can see us losing again.
I don't even think it's about how we lose. Like, what I would expect, right? And I don't even think I'm being unreasonable when I say this, right? I expect a minimum of 18 points. I don't think that's unreasonable whatsoever, because when you look at the sides we're playing, right, the only really big side in there is Tottenham, right? And the other sides that are in that, you'd expect Arsenal to beat. So 18 points is not unreasonable at all. If he doesn't get 18 points, in fact, if he draws or loses to Norwich, he's done.
You think it's that black and white?
Probably, yeah. Probably. Like, let's just say he loses to Norwich, right? And then he gets given another game.
Well, that's
then he loses to Burnley. Then he loses to Burnley.
Going into the North London derby. Oh, God.
Going into a North London derby on the back of what? Five defeats?
What bottom
That's
of the league?
not good.
Well, and how many goals have we scored so far?
0.
So we lose against Norwich, say 1-0. Lose against Burnley. We could be looking at playing Tottenham without scored a goal in the league. Potentially.
Yeah, potentially.
See? How bad is that? I mean, we're talking about the 1920s last time that happened, aren't we? I mean, it's... I've seen bad times as an Arsenal fan over the last, decade, but that would pretty much be right. I won't say up there. That would be right down there with the worst, position
Absolute
to be
worst,
in. And how do you come back from that? You're talking about top 6. We're talking about getting into the top 10 if that happens, aren't we?
I'm not even talking about top 10 or top 6, Steve. Honest to God, I'm just looking to stay up right now.
God.
My expectations are that low.
Don't say we're too good to go down. Don't say that.
No.
No, we're not.
I'll say.
Like, I don't even have to say it. You know, like I don't even have to say it. In fact, I'm not going to because that'd be foolish. Like this squad, right? I know it's average, but it's not as bad as some people are making out.
Is it bottom of the league standard? Put it that way.
No, it's not.
No, absolutely not.
Exactly.
It's not. Like if we had a half decent manager, right? And based on what the bookies are saying, now I know the bookies aren't realistically strong data to go off, right? But that's the only data we've got in regards to managers at this point in time, right? So we have to base it off of that. Say we had Brendan Rodgers. Does this team get into the top 6? In my opinion, yes. If we had Antonio Conte, for example, does this team get top 6? Yes. Because what will happen is the new manager bounce will take effect, right? Everyone will be upbeat that we've got a new manager, whoever it is, Brendan, Conte, whoever, right? And then what will happen is that the level of the players will regress to what it actually is, but at the same time, based on what the club have done the last few months, right? Because they've backed Arteta. They have.
Yeah.
That's proof with the window. All right? If they do that again with a better manager, who's to say we can't get in the Champions League?
If we're not too far behind and we go on a run, of course not.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
I mean, the thing about it is, a lot of it is that we're in a total mess, but there are still plenty of top managers out there that would be more than interested in coming to us.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's, you know, it's still Arsenal. It's still the history. It's still, you know, everything about the club is attractive to top managers, and top managers would look at, you know, but they wouldn't come unless there was a budget.
Yeah.
Because they'd look at that and think, well, there's half that squad I don't want, and we don't want to start another 5-year plan when we're already into a 2-year plan. We don't want to be starting another 5-year plan. You know, I mean, so whoever you bring in, it's got to be a sort of coach that can actually get the team playing in a system that actually produces results with the players he's got. Maybe 1 or 2 additions in January, maybe a few players can be moved on.
Yeah.
You know,
and that's a good point from Cheddars as well. Last season we finished 6th or 4th. Now I know last season was a complete mess, right? But the thing about it is, if you had a decent manager in there, there is no argument that anyone can put forth that we couldn't get top 6, potentially even 4th if we put a run together. And again, this is why I debunk if you change the manager, nothing's going to change. Well, a decent manager...
It always changes.
A decent manager can get a tune out of these players, regardless of whether the ownership is crap or not. You can work around bad ownership, man. You can. You just have to have a good coach there. Yeah. The fact that we don't, again, is an example of why we are when we are. Because let's not forget, right? His first half season, Arteta, 8th, right? I know he got a bly for that, but okay, fine. First full season, finished 8th again. Now, again, the whole rhetoric is, oh, we were the best in the league or the third best side in the league, like post Christmas, right? To me, that does not. I don't look at that and go, yeah, we've improved. What I look at is the league position at the end of the season, because all them stats about improved since Christmas are utter bollocks. Okay, we finished 8th in his first half season. We finished 8th again. That to me is not improvement. I'm sorry, but it's not, because we've literally stuck in the same spot that we did in his first half season.
Without a trophy this time as well.
No trophy either.
Yeah.
What gave him a bly was the FA Cup.
And keeping us in Europe, obviously, yeah.
So the fact that we have no Europe since what, 95 was it?
95 when we signed Bergkamp. Yeah.
Right? This man is breaking all the wrong records.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't shock me if we broke another one on Saturday, where we have a terrible run in September.
You got a question in the chat, by the way, Colin. I'll let you No, that's, again, going back to what you said about Cheddar's, that comment, yeah, because he made a previous comment before saying that's what the reason he made that comment, because he said before that the club need to act now instead of doing what they did under Emery and wait until after the second international break came along, and then it was too late. Do it if you can do it now. There's something we can still salvage this season, and then obviously proving the point with we finished 6. You finished 6 points off 4 for your 8.
Mm-hmm.
So if you act now, yeah, you've got a point. If we do that now, there's more than enough time. But only got 9 points? I can't believe I'm saying this. 9 points off that lot down the road. 3 games could be worse tomorrow, but we'll see. That's still redeemable. There's time to recover from that. Whereas if they do what they did under Emery and drag it down, kick it down the road until it's unrecoverable, then it's like a third season then that has to be written off again, and we have to go again next season. And it's only so much. There's only so long we can not be in Europe and B not be in the Champions League either before it becomes even more of a struggle. We fall further behind the likes of the Evertons, then what down the road, Wolves, Villas, and the usual top four, and Leicester Cities and the Man United and the Man Cities and the Chelseas and Liverpools. If we ain't lucky, we will be a bottom 10 team in no time if things don't improve.
It's a fine line
now.
isn't it?
Things don't improve.
It's a fine line, isn't it? Because we're still attracting players without Champions League football, but the problem will be our talented young players will get poached at some point because they want to play in the Champions League. They want to play against the big sides, and if we keep going season after season with no, then you're a target again, aren't you? You're a target for these players to be taken. Serious money maybe, but that doesn't help us, does it? So
no,
you've already seen that, Steve. You've already seen the fact that Villa tried to poach Smith Rowe.
You'll lose Smith Rowe, you'll lose Martinelli's, players like that. If this Japanese player turns into a worldie, he'll be up as well, won't he? I mean, it's like, Tierney's come to the club. He wants to win trophies. He's passionate. If he doesn't look like he's going to get it, then they're all potentially targets.
And Tierney probably gets into like most top sides.
Yeah, I'd say so.
In Europe, I think. I mean,
Partey would if he's fully fit playing.
Man City's left backs. You've got, was it Cancelo?
Cancelo and Mendy. Mendy's in trouble as we speak, but Cancelo basically.
Yeah, would he get into Man City's team? Of course he would. Of course he would. He'd probably get into. Well, I don't know if he would get into Chelsea's because they've got Chilwell.
He wouldn't get into Liverpool probably. Probably wouldn't get into Liverpool's at the moment.
No, not Liverpool's because Robertson's immense.
But
that said, he can play centre back as well because he does that for Scotland. So if Liverpool wanted him and they reverted to a 3 and put Van Dijk and Matip in that as well, if Klopp did that, who knows? Like, the Tierney's, we're in trouble, man. We are in trouble. Like, the more we float with this bottom half mediocrity crap, like, the more chance we're going to lose some of the talented youngsters. We've already seen that with Aston Villa trying to poach Smith Rowe. We've already seen that this season.
But it's not too late, is it? We're talking after
No.
3 games. It's not too late to actually turn it round and start challenging for, you know, the better positions. It's not too late, but it would be too late if we go down against Norwich and we don't beat Burnley. You know, that you can't. Well, Arteta can't come back from that. I don't think the club probably can, but I don't think Arteta can.
No,
you know, we don't have a history of sacking managers after, you know, a few games, do we?
No, but what I would say,
Steve, these are strange times, though.
What I would say, Steve, though, is there was reports towards the end of last season, right, that they were going to give him 6 games to improve it, and that the recovery options were Ralph Ragnick and Rafa Benitez. Now, the Rafa Benitez call, that's obviously not happening now because he's with Everton. But the 6 games part, like, I wouldn't be shocked if that was true, because, like, if they did give him 6 games to kind of turn it round, then he's already had 3 of them, and the other 3 would
so
be...
we're halfway through that. So even if he won the next 3 games, he's only got a 50% strike rate, isn't he? So
yeah,
you know, that's not great, is it? But
no,
3 wins on the spin is better than 3 losses on the spin, isn't it? So it gives you a little bit more time, doesn't it?
I suppose it would, but
the clock's ticking. In my opinion, the clock's ticking, and I never want to see an Arsenal manager getting sacked. You know, I want to support the club no matter what. But you know, there comes a point whereby you think this ain't working.
Yeah, I mean, what does kind of wind me up a bit, and I don't know if you feel the same about it, but like, if you're not, because I've made it abundantly clear that I was not happy with our transfer business. Like, and I have legitimate reasons for that, as I've explained previously. But the second you say anything negative about the club, and again, it's like, apparently you're not allowed to, I guess, criticize the club for buying squad players, pretty much. I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's just maybe I'm of the old school mentality where I'm just like, you know what? Why not strengthen the first team first and then worry about the bench later? Maybe that's just me, but again, it's that's irrelevant right now. The point is, we need to win on Saturday. Anything less is not acceptable. I don't want to hear a draw. I definitely don't want to hear a loss. If we lose to Norwich, bruv, nah, don't even go there, right? We're a laughing stock already, to the point where rival fans...
I'll be switching Twitter off at 5 o'clock if we lose against Norwich, that's for sure.
Yeah, I'm definitely not going to be on social media if we lose. And I hope that's not the case, because, again, I don't want... Contrary to popular belief, though, I don't actually want us to lose. I'm not behind this train of thought where, you know, I want Arsenal to lose just so Arteta gets sacked. I'm not ever going to be behind that logic. Like, I'm just not. Like, that's just not the way my mind would think. Like, I want Arsenal to do well regardless. Well, that's under Arteta. Truth be told, I don't care who the manager is. Really, I don't. If Arsenal are doing
honest,
well,
isn't it? You're just being honest, an honest fan. You want to see your club do the best it can,
like
and you
honestly,
want to see the players want to do.
If Arteta got sacked tomorrow, right, and Brendan Rodgers was appointed, I'd be like, okay, cool. Because Arteta can have no complaints if he gets sacked at this point. Zero complaints whatsoever, right? But like with me, honestly, if the club was doing well, I wouldn't give a fuck who the manager was. Honestly. I went for years not knowing who the Arsenal manager was. It wasn't until 2008 that I realised it was Arsene Wenger. Like, and that's because we were doing well on the pitch. I didn't care who the manager was. Again, it's like, if the club does well, we're all happy. If the club does shit, which they are, then obviously it's going to be a negative vibe, isn't it? Jeez.
Yeah. Yeah, I think if the team is playing well, you don't really care. I mean, you just want to see the players play for the badge. You want to see the players being passionate. You want to see the players win 50-50 balls, which we don't seem to do that well. Create chances, take chances. If you play really well and you lose, then hey, the ball didn't bounce our way that day. But when the heads go down and there's no energy, there's no passion, and they're losing against a lower ranked side, you just think, well, what's the point? What's the manager going to do to change that? He's looking at his bench. I mean, the bench is not going to be that strong tomorrow, is it?
No, it's really not.
So who?
Because now we're forced to put in the bench players in the first team, where it should be the opposite way around.
Yeah. So hopefully, when we do the next show, whenever that be, Monday night, we'll be talking about an Arsenal victory.
Hopefully.
I
don't know, man.
It seems you've got a fan in the chat, Colin.
I've noticed as well. I've just ignored it.
Dear God.
Listen, I'm not responding to him, right? I'm not, because I don't really care. Like, it's like I've said multiple times on my own channel, man. Like, I'm past being nice, bro. Honestly, if you don't like what I say, you don't have to watch, bro. It really is that simple. It goes with everything in life, man. Like, if you don't like it, don't fucking watch, man. Really, it's not that hard. Do I agree with everything Ryan says? No, I don't.
No, we actually do.
Do I agree with everything Steve says? No, I do not. If I agreed with everyone, do you realize how boring that would be? Bloody hell. Like, and listen, like, let's
all get a Datsun and sit in the car and rant.
Listen, right? The whole reason that I said I wasn't going to respond, right? But listen, on that one question you asked, right? If people are condescending to me, naturally, I'm going to respond the way I do, which is coming out all guns blazing and spitting venom at you, bro. That's it. Like, if you're condescending to me, I'll block you. It's simple as that.
Right, in response to his newest comment, right, you got all this. It's not just UK-based fans want Kroenke out. I'm a UK-based fan. Steve and Colin's up in Scotland, so he's technically a UK-based fan as well. There's fans. There's fans all around the world that want Kroenke. You can't expect them especially in a pandemic, to go jump on the flight, get to London, and protest. It's down to the people that are local that can get to them on the day. I mean, the only protest that's been somewhat successful was the one after the fucking Super League fallout. Then after that, protests were organised, and it was, it's a semi-final of a European game. It's not the right time. Let's get behind and support them. Yay! That works out well. And then the final game of the season, 10,000 fans going in. No, it's raining. We can't go now. It's gonna the rain's gonna melt us. These excuses after excuses, it pisses me off. People that can go, if you can go, fantastic. There's no problem. But this is the problem with the fan base. The people that can go decide, decide for whatever reason they pump it out as well. They pump it. They put the publicity out there, but then at the last week they decide not to go because it's raining or it's not the right time. And think, when is the right time then? When is the right time to do a protest where it suits everyone apparently? Because if and when it suits, that's when there's a protest apparently.
The whole point of a protest is to make things uncomfortable, right?
Yeah, we made it too comfortable.
That's the whole point of a protest, right? So to just do it for a time that benefits everyone, in my view, is ridiculous, right? So, like, and again, this goes back to what I said, like deadline day, Ryan.
Yeah.
Right? There's this sense of entitlement across the fan base, where if you don't agree with their point of view, then you're not a real fan. Apparently, that's it. Like, but what I will say, right? If I don't agree with someone, I'll just go, okay, cool. I'll just move on. I'll move on and I'll do whatever I want. Right? However, if you attack me in a condescending way, I've got zero time for that. Zero time for that. And I now know who you are, by the way. I know who you are. So I'll block you and I'll never speak to you again unless you apologize to me. Because quite frankly, if people want to be condescending to me, bro, like Ryan will tell you. Ryan will tell you. When I've got no time for someone, you'll know. You'll know. Right? Do I agree with everybody? No. Funnily enough, the only person that I've never had, well, two people. The two people I've never had a disagreement with ever is Ola and Tops. The only two people I've never had an argument with. We don't always agree, but we don't spill it into an argument. Like, the fact that arguments spill out in this fan base because people don't agree is ridiculous. It really is. Like, and this goes without saying, but the Arsenal fan base on Twitter especially, they take themselves far too seriously, man. Seriously, like, lads, realize that we're all fans here. We're all fans here. We may have a different viewpoint on what success is. Like, my viewpoint is that I hope the Qataris come in and make us successful. Now, Steve might disagree with that. That's cool. That's cool. No issue with that. But I'm not gonna question his loyalty to Arsenal Football Club just because he disagrees with me. That's ridiculous.
I think you
like, bruh.
You've got millions of fans worldwide. The only real common thread is that we all want Arsenal to do well.
Yeah.
And obviously, we all have our opinions of how we achieve that. And I think, some people will say there's nothing wrong with the manager. Some people will say there's nothing wrong with the players. You have all these Arsenal channels, all with these people on there, all debating the same thing. And they've all got different opinions. And you just have to respect that. And just move on. We all want the same thing for the club. How we get there is what's different. Money coming in from the Far East, money coming in from America. It doesn't matter. I mean, even, so you just have to listen to what people say and you agree with it or you don't agree with it. And then you move on to the next thing. That's it.
Exactly. No need to be like condescending about it. Like, if you don't agree, then just move on, man.
You've got your opinion, and that's it. That's fine. That's your opinion. That's not my opinion, but that's life.
Yeah, man. Honestly, if people always agreed all the time, like, do you realize how boring life would be if everyone just agreed all the time? It's like me saying, like this, and this, right? And then Ryan going, yeah, I agree with that, and then me saying something else, and then Ryan going, yeah, I agree with that. That'd be boring, man.
It'd be like being on a Man City podcast where all it is about how great we are, how much money we spent, who we're going to tank next week, and let's all go down the pub and have a beer and watch us spank somebody 5-0.
Steve, I'd watch it, man, because you're going to get Man City fans coming for you now.
You can imagine, could you? That they don't really transfer problems. They don't have any manager problems. They don't have any style or anything, do they?
No, because they're successful. That's the problem.
Yeah, but that's so how boring is that?
Yeah, exactly.
From a podcast point of view,
if it wasn't for Cronky.
What's Cronky done to you, man? Come on.
We were talking about the royal family coming in the club last week, so anything.
Oh yeah. Well, she's an Arsenal fan, so she would care.
Well, that's a start, isn't it?
And that's the main thing. In terms of ownership, that's all we ask for from an owner. That they not necessarily be a fan of football, so to speak, like hardcore. But if they're a fan of Arsenal, that really does help because they show that and show that by doing the right things and showing that they care by doing them right things in the first place. We've just got to, of all the owners in the world, we drew the short straw, and that's saying something when Newcastle got Mark Ashley, for fuck's sake. I mean, how can someone make Mark Ashley look like good?
Game, didn't he? He actually turned up to it.
I know, he home and away, he's there. Yeah.
He didn't have to ask his partner which one's Arsenal.
Yeah. Who is that team there in the black and white? Is that Arsenal? Wouldn't surprise me at all. The fucking, I know, he got put to the point he can't even be bothered. He put his son in charge of it now, and basically his son's a puppet to his whatever he's doing. And his son's here winning once in a blue moon.
That big excited thing's looking real good right now, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I say be excited. Yeah, got that fucking. That's gone. Yeah, 3 years down the line, are we excited? Yeah, hey.
We spent it on the wrong players, though. We didn't even need Pepe.
No, they did it because they want that glamorous marquee sign to get the fans on board, didn't it? Be excited.
Could have been worse. We could have got Lamar instead, couldn't we?
Oh fuck yeah, 90 million from Lamar on deadline day. Yeah, remember that. In exchange, and obviously, he was to come in to replace fucking Alexis. I was like, what?
Wasn't that on the last day in the window? There was a report, and that was the report in the Telegraph. 92 million for Lamar, and then he just went, nah, fuck off.
We accepted the 50 million. We initially, in principle, accepted a £50 million deal with Man City for Sanchez, but it was in principle because we said, look, okay, you can have him, but we don't want to push anything through yet until we get a replacement ourselves. And that was obviously 92 million. And obviously, because we've been messing him and his agent about all summer, he basically told us where to stick it. So we had 6 more months of Sanchez.
Thought it was a good idea to get Mkhitaryan instead. So you go from the man to the mid
straight
Mkhitaryan.
Yes, a straight swap as well. We didn't even get any money for it either. It was literally like for like swap, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my days. We still got the best out of Sanchez, though. I mean, after obviously Barcelona, we got the best out of him since he hasn't really performed.
Well, if you watched him at Inter Milan, Ryan, he was actually really good under Antonio Conte.
Yeah. I'm an Arsenal fan, and as far as I'm concerned, we got the best out of him for a consistent period of time. Even when he didn't,
there's life outside of Arsenal, man. Enjoy it.
Even when he didn't want to be here, for the last 6 months, he still performed. He still scored goals for us. So I can't fault him on that side of it. Even if it showed sometimes he didn't want to be here, he still performed. But
shame it ended up the way it did. Because I mean, obviously, whatever happened at United, he just went completely the other way, didn't he? I mean, he just.
Well, there's some rumours, weren't there?
Two different players. The one that played for us and the one who played for United was just like
complete contrast. It's like what?
Complete contrast.
His twin brother. But there's a rumours about 6 months ago that literally he did an interview saying after literally turning up on the day after signing for training, he contacted his agent and all that and said, "Can I go back to Arsenal, please? Can we tear this contract up and can I go back?"
That wasn't a rumor. That was during an interview. He said that.
Yeah. But obviously, there's rumours, and he confirmed it. Obviously, we then see and hear what he actually said in the air.
Be interesting to see what if you could wind back the clock and you had the choice of keeping Sanchez and letting Ozil go, how that would have worked out. If you'd have kept Sanchez and Ozil would have moved on.
To be honest, Sanchez staying probably would have benefited us because, like, I just the thing with those two, right? I always felt that Sanchez suited us more than Ozil did, because Ozil's the kind of player where, like, he slows the game down a little bit, whereas with Sanchez, it was like pace all the time. I still remember that United game at the Emirates, right? Honest to God, that is one of the best performances I've seen at the Emirates from a player. Alexis on that day was amazing, like he really was. But what doesn't get mentioned, right? 16-17 Alexis. That, oh my God, like he was world class that season, without doubt. Like the one player that would drag us time in, time out. And then he's looking around him and he's just looking at it and going, like, what is this? Like, so in that sense, I don't really blame him for leaving, because when you've been let down by the club that many times, naturally your head's gonna go.
What was it? What was that? The Bournemouth game when we were 3-0 down, came back to the field. Giroud's off fucking celebrating. Giroud and all that off celebrating with the fans at 3-3, and he's got the ball. He's trying to get them all fucking back to centre circle. Like, no, we need to get a fourth goal quickly. Come on.
I think with Sanchez, you noticed towards the end, he wasn't tracking back like he used to in the early days. Was he? I mean, he was the one player that if he lost the ball, he was at it. But when he was seeing the other players that weren't really, he'd be looking around thinking, well, where are you? You know, and in the end, I think he just lost his motivation, I think, for us.
And that's what happens when you're let down constantly, Steve. Though,
yeah, absolutely.
Like, when you're let down that much, like, because Sanchez was probably signed with promises that we were going to challenge for the major trophies, and then it didn't come off. So naturally, his head's going to go, like. But what happened at United, like that's I don't even know if you can put that down to, well, any one mitigating factor. Like, I think it's just that, you know, it wasn't what he expected. Whereas I feel like if he had gone to City, he would have just carried on from where he left off at Arsenal. Because he would have had players around him and a manager that would keep him motivated. Like, because when you're surrounded by winners, it's much easier to get yourself going. But when you're surrounded by shit, which is what he was surrounded by at United, let's not get it twisted. He was surrounded by shit as well. It's very hard to drag a whole team, considering that he'd already done it once. Like, if anything, his agent probably looked at it and went, "Oh, big signing on fee for Man United. Yeah, let's get that done."
Yeah, true. I mean, yeah, evil coming from an all-conquering Barcelona at the time as well. Wherever you're going to go is going to be a fall from grace. But yeah, as you say, he probably was promised the world in terms of competing for Champions League and Premier League titles and all that. And to be honest, we sort of 15-16, we sort of won that title.
But to be fair, we were playing in the Champions League, weren't we? We were winning cups. Yeah, we were actually successful, weren't we? So you had a little bit of, you had some success with. We had a lot of success with us, you know. But I think with us, he was big fish in a little pond, wasn't he? When he went to
Yeah.
United, he was one of a squad of players, and Mourinho was playing a certain type
Mourinho,
of football back then, and it was more defensive orientated, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, Sanchez isn't suited to defensive football,
That
man.
didn't
He's
suit
really
his
not.
style of play at all.
No.
And like you say, if he'd have gone to City, who were much more attack-minded, that would have been.
He'd still be there.
It's not even just that, Steve. Yeah, honestly, it's not. He would have been surrounded by a winning culture at City.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whereas I don't think it was like that at United, because I look at that United squad back then. Like, you had good players in and around it, but overall the squad was really the same level as what Arsenal's was at the time. So it's not really a step up. Like, Sanchez went from carrying us to essentially just going to United and thinking, I've done this already. Do I really want to do it again? Like, so really, that's on him for doing that, because he went there, and he stayed for the amount of money he was on. Right, so that's on him. But his form at Inter Milan, it was as good as I've seen Alexis recently. Like, admittedly, that's not hard, but it looks like Alexis of old. That's what Conte brought out of him.
He's still there, isn't he? He's still at Inter Milan, isn't he?
It just showed that if you give Sanchez the motivation and, I guess, players around him that have like that winning culture that Conte instills in a team, then Sanchez can work. But if you surround him with just shit, and it's just not going to work, because he's already dragged Arsenal. He didn't want to drag United as well. He's been there and done it. It's the same reason why Harry Kane doesn't want to stay at Tottenham. He's been there and done that. He wants to go to a team of winners now. Admittedly, he fucked up with the whole, orchestrating of that deal, but it's pretty much the same thing. And honestly, I would not be surprised if Harry Kane dropped an absolute bollock this season. I really wouldn't be surprised. Because Alexis Sanchez did the exact same thing in his final season at Arsenal. Yes, he scored goals, but if you actually watch his performances, they were substandard. Really, they were. And Salah reminded me of that at Liverpool last season. I know he was the top scorer, but goals can deceive you into thinking that you've played well when you haven't.
Yeah, I mean,
well, that's why, obviously you got the situation with Aubameyang. Aubameyang needs to start scoring in the league, doesn't he?
Yeah. Do you think that's a similar situation, though, Steve? Like, do you think Aubameyang's just sick of carrying people, and then he's gone like?
Maybe, but then he signed a new contract, so he was happy to stay. He could have gone at that point elsewhere, couldn't he? He was happy to stay.
He could have sorted his contract, got signed on fee as well. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, players don't do that unless they think they see something in the club, do they?
No.
I would think so. A lot of these players, going back to the players that we've signed, they've all seen something in the club. Arteta has sold them a doozy of a story, if you like, about where they're going and what they're going to be achieving. And they've looked at the average age of the squad, which is coming down all the time. They've all bought into that, which is why I think these players will make a difference. I certainly hope they make a difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they don't, then it's only going to end up one way, isn't it?
Well, I think it's going to end up one way anyway. Honestly, I think his days are numbered. I really do. Like,
but if they go on a winning run, they won't sack him if he goes on a winning run, will they?
No, but Steve, do you think he will go on a winning run though?
Jury's out. I'll update you
next 3 games
about it.
Yeah, come back on Sunday evening.
Sunday evening, we'll have an update.
Okay. I won't pry you for an answer. Then I'll leave it. I'll leave it till like Saturday night, right? And we'll leave it at that for now.
Give it till
Give it time.
Yeah, give it time. And obviously,
Yeah, if I lose, I
The
can't
obvious-
tweet you, so I'll have to email you or something.
yeah.
Okay. Well, you can unblock me, mate. You can unblock me. Like, I don't know why you blocked me.
Have I blocked you? I haven't blocked you, surely.
You have. I just checked.
Have I?
Oops.
I don't know why.
I was going through a blocking section of like, and I must have randomly blocked you. Hang on a minute, I'll unblock you now.
I don't know why you blocked me. What have I done to you? What have I done? Little old me.
I must have
Probably
had a few
exactly-
beers that night. I was just going through a blocking session. I don't know.
Must have,
And- Saw you having a go at Lee Gunner and thought, no, you can't have a go at my friend. Blocked.
To be fair, look.
I don't
Joke's
get
a joke, by the way. Any
I don't
Lee
think
Gunner
you-
fans out there, it's a joke.
Yeah.
But you will comment me in the comments. Oh, how can you say that about Lee Gunner?
Mate, don't even like it.
I'll have
Look.
to watch some of his stuff. I haven't really watched any of his stuff, so I don't really know what's it all about.
Oh, don't. Basically, he's the one that's from an Arsenal from the.
He
big
said
YouTubers
Thierry
from day
Henry
one.
isn't in the Premier League's greatest ever list.
No, BA.
Oh no, basically,
I
no.
know.
He said
I
he
know.
thinks in his opinion, controversial or not, Zola, Bergkamp,
You don't-
and Cantona
You
are ahead of
don't
him.
put opinions like that out there if you don't think it's going to trigger people.
Of course not. He ain't
That's
stupid
what
enough.
it
He
was.
knows what he's doing, and he got the reaction he wanted.
Yeah, but that's more to do with followers, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, but it's just ridiculous. You could tell if you watch, because I saw the clip and I was like, if you watch his body language, he knows what he's doing. He knows it's going to work.
Mm.
And ironically, guess who followed me today about half hour before going live?
Who?
Terry.
What, Terry?
Terry
Oh my
from.
God. Bro, he follows me. Like, he's been following me for a while, and I'm just like, why are you following me? I don't really want anything to do with you, but okay, fine, fair enough. Like,
Oh dear. So if I appear on there, you'll know why.
The thing is, right? I don't, okay, maybe I will, maybe I won't, right? But I've been tempted to go on the terrace a couple times, but I've kind of steered away from it because most of the people I hear talk absolute drivel, like, and I'm just, you know what? Nah. I'd rather stick to my own platform, like just give my opinion, and if people like it, cool. If they don't, that's fine. No problem whatsoever.
Well, Steve's enjoyed us. Enjoyed the show so far tonight. Yeah, the words out tonight. That'd be great.
Yeah, the Arsenal Misfits are good lad, man. Really is.
Yeah, Steve's in the chat saying, I think Arsenal will finish 13th. Probably that's my prediction. I guess
Oof.
international break gave you stress-free Arsenal. Yeah, it gave you stress-free. It gave you 20.
Yeah,
gave you
give me
20
stress-free. I watched Scotland beat Austria midweek. I'm a happy bunny.
I mean, I saw Saka score on his birthday, so good for him as well for England.
Yeah.
Oh,
And we didn't
dear.
pick up any
First-
injuries. I don't think we didn't pick up any injuries, did we?
No, that's fucking hell. That's a first.
Although Tierney was immense against Austria, though, as per standard.
I mean, apart from an Auschwitz, it is Austria, with all due respect.
But they've still got good players, man. They've got David Alba, bro.
Oh yeah, he's captain, isn't he? Oh yeah,
No easy games anymore, apparently.
apparently.
Nah. If this was Bertie Vott Scotland, we don't win that.
Yeah,
Seriously,
exactly.
like, I've watched the Bertie Vott era. I've seen how shite that was. Bloody hell. Like, I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. Legit, like, that is, well, okay, maybe it's not Mikel. Well, actually, is it Mikel Arteta bad?
Time will tell. Time will tell.
I don't know. I can't put that statement out there that the Bertie Votts era is just as bad as this, because the Bertie Votts era was pretty damn bad. Like, I remember us losing to like
Faroe
really
Islands.
average teams. Like,
You constantly lost to Faroe Islands. I remember that much.
yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. The Faroe Islands, and no one loses to them. Like, nobody. No. Like, if that was Southgate, you'd be pulling your hair out and calling for his head. I mean, you do anyway, but it would just make it even more confirmed.
Yeah, and Taylor makes a good point here about the football challenge. Yeah, hence why my confusion to why he followed me. today.
Yes.
Is that nowhere?
Why? Telling me? Why? I don't want.
Is he now going to start stalking my channel? Steve in the chat said, if Scotland beat Israel, we should get second.
Well, do you know what? It's there for us. It's there for us if we want it, but we need to show the mentality that we've shown in previous games. Like if we show up like we did against Georgia in 2016, then we're not getting second. But if we show up like we did against Austria, we definitely will. It's all about what shows up. Like,
yeah, exactly.
And hopefully Tierney doesn't get injured. Fingers crossed.
Yeah. Touch wood. When do you play Israel?
For both my sides, Arsenal and Scotland, please. No Kieran Tierney injury, please.
Yeah, God forbid it. You want to come back tomorrow?
Arsenal, by some bizarre, Arsenal play Scotland. By some bizarre, who are we going with then?
Oh no! Don't do that.
And Tierney has to play for Arsenal, by the way.
Why?
Yeah.
Why? We're getting along. Why we're getting along here? Like you would have.
Yeah, Tierney has to play for Arsenal.
Right now, bro.
Oh my days! Go on.
We'll play at Hampden though.
We give you home advantage, but we have Tierney.
Do you know what? Right, I can't believe I'm entertaining.
2 legs. Tierney will play for us first leg. Play for you second leg.
Look, okay, right, okay. I'll put it to you like this, right? And I'm not even going off individual quality, right? I'm going off purely mentality-wise, right? Mentality-wise, that Scotland side beats this Arsenal side over 2 legs.
Okay.
It does. Mentality-wise, like, because this Arsenal team's mentality is shocking, whereas that Scotland side's mentality has improved since Steve Clarke's come in. So if you're comparing managers, let's be real, Steve Clarke's better than Mikel Arteta. So just based off that alone, Scotland beat them over 2 legs.
So I'm
sure most people in the chat would agree with me on that.
You mentioned it earlier on, though, but if the right Arsenal turned up, surely they would beat Scotland. If the right Arsenal turned up with the right mentality that they should have with their quality, they should beat Scotland home and away, shouldn't they?
Yeah. Oh, with all due respect, hands down, yeah.
Sure. If they turned up.
Turned up, yeah.
As you know, with this Arsenal side, that rarely happens.
That's a big if, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
For a long time. But yeah, going back to obviously we'll wrap things up soon, but going back to the tomorrow's game, we sort of drifted off for a bit for the last half hour or so.
That was your fault.
We tend to do that.
Yeah, we do tend to do that, but technically that wasn't my fault. It was your friend in the chat that went off on a rant, basically ranted.
Well, I can't help that. I attract weirdos for some reason. That's not my problem. These people follow me and they stalk me. Like, why?
Oh dear,
they're looking for a reaction, aren't they? They're looking to get a reaction.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, going back to tomorrow's game, score predictions. How do we think that's going to pan out tomorrow? Assuming we're obviously going to see Partey, Gabriel, Ben White's back as from COVID, and basically a fully strength squad available. What sort of not a score prediction actually? What do your 11 be for tomorrow? And formation.
They should win comfortably, but it'd be more like 2-1. But they should win comfortably if the Arsenal turn up. They should turn up.
What would your 11 be as well?
Sorry.
What would your starting 11 be?
My starting 11 will be Tierney, Gabriel, and White. And then the right back is a bit of an iffy one. I'll probably go with the Japanese lad if they feel he's ready. Partey, Lokonga, midfield. Saka, Odegaard. And then Pepe. Sorry, M. Smith Rowe, Odegaard, Pepe, Saka, Bamiyang.
Okay. Colin, what about yourself?
my confidence with this Arsenal side is in the ground right now. So I'm not going to sit here and be ultra positive, okay? Because that's just not my style. Based on the fact that the team's confidence is rock bottom, or the morale is rock bottom at least, or you'd assume so anyway. And based on the fact that Arteta is incredibly predictable as a manager, and not in a good way, I can see Norwich scraping a point. I really can. Like, I'm not even trying to be like, I'm not even trying to be negative or nothing. Like, I'm really, really not. But there's nothing about this Arsenal team that makes me think we'll beat Norwich at the minute, unless they prove me wrong. Which, let's be clear, I hope they do. I hope they do. But as it stands, I'm going 1-1.
Okay, what do your 11 be?
That is actually an improvement, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
be a goal and a point improvement.
Scored a goal. See? I turned a negative into a positive. There we go.
Think about it. Yes, come on.
All right. As far as my 11 is concerned, I've said it on my own preview as well. Ramsdale starts and goal. No question. You've got Ramsdale in, and he's embedded in with the squad now. You might as well use him. All right?
Mm-hmm.
Out of all the positions that we could field tomorrow, right back's the most challenging one of all of them. Mm. I've decided to go with Ainsley Maitland-Niles ahead of Tomiyasu because Tomiyasu is just coming in from a new country, and he would need time to gel. Yeah. Right? So I wouldn't throw him in for this game, which is must win. So for that reason, I'm going Ainsley Maitland-Niles. The other positions at the back, Gabriel, Ben White, Tierney, again, it picks itself. You don't need to mess with it. Mm-hmm. The midfield is self-explanatory because we've only got two available, Partey and Sambi, which I'm not complaining about. But, again, that's just an example of the poor planning that this board have done. The front four, Saka on the right, Smith Rowe on the 10, Pepe on the left, and Aubameyang up front.
Okay. And you still think we're going to get a draw? Because the mentality, I get it.
Yeah, it's got nothing to do with the 11. Honestly, it's got nothing to do with the 11. It's to do with the mentality of the team. That's why.
And morale's, as you said, at an all-time low as well.
Yeah. Do I think though that Arteta will pick that team? No, I don't. If anything, he'll put Leno in goal and he'll put Tomiyasu at right back.
Yeah, true.
That's what he'll do.
Again, this might be a bit come across and bite me in the arse. I did a watch along stream tomorrow, and being like, okay, it's the arse because it's Arsenal. Because I'm thinking Arsenal, it's Norwich, and I'd never going into the season, as everyone knows. I don't think not. I think Norwich should be another whipping boys of the league again. They'll be rock bottom, literally record low points and all that crap. I'm gonna go for a 3-1 win. A scrappy. It's not gonna be a comfortable one either. It could be scrappy as fuck. Yeah, third goal. My 11 would be, as you said, Ramsdale, and then right back. I come back and say I'd have partnership of Gabriel and Ben White with Tierney. But the right back, I'm trying to think now. I'd have either Chambers or Ainsley. As you said about, as Colin said about Tommy, I was, as I said, he's only just come back. He's only just arrived into the country and all that. So, give him another week on the training pitch with his teammates and all that. And if you want to play him against Burnley, fine. If not, worst case, play him against something like AFC Wimbledon in the cup. Things that integrate him in slowly. Don't just throw him in at the deep end. Midfield, as you said, pivot is what it is. It speaks for itself, and it is what we've got to deal with at the moment with Lukonga and Thomas Partey. So I'm going to put his name there, bloody hell. Assuming that we're saying all this, but one of them, no, we'll wake up tomorrow morning. We did a match day one and go, oh, this player's got COVID. Sorry, he can't play. Bastards. And then the forward line I'd have. That's be interesting. Bamian has to go up top, just because of the sheer pace. Obviously, he does have that pace still, and all that. Just a bit, he has that pace compared to Lacazette. Otherwise, I'd have Lacazette in there for but Bamian, Saka, and Pepe, and then obviously between Saka and Pepe, they can interchange either side throughout the game with it, just fuck up their defence basically. But as you said, I think he ain't gonna put Ramsdale in. He's gonna put Leno in, and that's why I think that's why we'll see, because Leno's in goal and Leno makes mistakes.
Yeah.
And it is what it is.
I just had a thought though, right? What if he tries to shoehorn Odegaard in and put Odegaard in 10 and Smith Rowe in centre midfield?
Yeah, it could do.
Be interesting. Could do. Be interesting. Be different. Doesn't normally do things like that in that sense, but yeah.
I'm not for that, by the way, but like I can see him doing it.
I wouldn't be surprised because again, it's two extra attacking options, and we do need goals, and he knows that. And if what we're hearing, obviously, as you said when you came on earlier about the rumours about Conte and all that, but the clubs have held talks with Edu with Conte's side, he'll know. He'll have got wind by now. His agent would have given him a heads up and say, "Yeah, come on, it's now or never, basically."
Yeah,
he could go with the 3 at the back, though, couldn't he? You could just go with the 3 at the back and then play wing back.
Surprise me. Yeah, it would surprise me.
yeah.
And if he does that, if he plays 3 at the back, and that'd be like that'll have Tierney. That means Tierney. Gabriel and Ben White. The wing backs would be Nuno Tavares. That's the one.
Mm.
He'll probably be on the left hand side, like he should do, and then Ainsley on the right,
wouldn't he?
Or Saka,
Ainsley, yeah, Ainsley or Saka.
So yeah,
So really, we don't know, do we? We don't know. We've all played the same formation, same players, but
yeah, but it's like you say, we don't know because again, 20 odd months into his reign at Arsenal, we don't know what formation he wants to play full time. B, we don't know his best. We know he's better than them, but he doesn't know he's better than them. He doesn't pick a consistent 11 as well. He just doesn't help things either.
Do we know of the best 11, Ryan? Because I'm not convinced we do.
No, in a sense of, like we just said, we did Ramsdale over Leno, so for goalkeeper wise. The only slight issue, question mark at the moment, is the right back or wing back side of it. We don't have an out and out first choice. We have options, but there's not an out and out first choice there. We've got Ben White, Mari, and Gabriel, if you want to play 3 at the back and things like that, or Tierney. And you've got Nuno Tavares, Nuno as well. You've got Sambi Lukonga, you've got Partey as a pivot. We think, as far as we're all concerned, we believe that's the best pivot available. But we can play out of the 4 options we have. I'm trying to think now. And then we've got obviously Pepe, you've got Saka, you've got Smith Rowe, you've got Odegaard, you've got Aubameyang, Lacazette, and Aubameyang and Lacazette on their days, if they were bothered to turn up, can cause problems to anyone, but it's all a matter of consistency. Also got Martinelli. So we have got we have got these good players or great players. It's just
he doesn't have a history of picking a consistent side, though, does he?
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. In 20 months,
again, we're going into this game with another centre back pairing that have never played together before.
Yeah,
and and presumably we'll play a different side on against Wimbledon. And then what do we do in the next game? Do we then go back to Ben White and Gabriel, or does Tommy, the new guy, does it because he can play centre back as well, can't he? Right, centre back.
Yeah, he can.
Tall, physical lad. He could end up being the third centre back, and then Tierney would push forward as a wing back potentially.
No, so I was watching. Yeah, sorry, I was watching the training thing. The video they put out earlier. Tommy, he's a bit stocky. He's tall, but a bit built. Yeah,
he can pass the ball as well, which is good. He can pick a pass. So who knows?
Again, falls into Arteta's. Yeah. And Steve says in the chat, Arsenal seem to play well. I'm going to bone into this actually because that did piss me off in international break, and I heard about this by the way. But Arsenal seem to play well when there's nothing to play for near the end of the season when it's late and this, that, and the other. International break, guys. We've all heard and saw the we've all heard the fucking the stories of Arsenal playing Brentford behind the closed doors. We beat them 4-0. I mean, I was talking with my brother the other day, and I was saying to him, we mentioned it. I was like, oh yeah. When there's no pressure, when there's no points up to grabs and all that, we beat Brentford 4-0 by youth basically, and players come back from injury. But when we needed the points, oh no, we just fucking fall apart basically.
Yeah, and then people will laugh it up and go, "Yeah, we got a revenge for the 2-0." Seriously.
Oh, don't.
Like seriously, just again, like. And what's funny is like I've seen several fans lapping it up like it means something. Like it doesn't mean shit. I'm sorry, but it doesn't. Like unless you can go out there and prove that you're about it. Which
I'll tell you what though, it would have proved if we'd have lost the game.
Well,
the fallout then losing a friendly game against Brentford with your first team players out.
Yeah, well, it would have proved that the mentality of the squad, the morale in the squad is rock bottom.
Yeah.
That's
they've
it.
got a chance now, haven't they? They've got a chance tomorrow to prove us all wrong.
Yeah, and
exactly.
For the record, I hope they do. I hope they do for the record, but I can't really see it happening to be honest, because the morale's in the tubes, as far as the fan base is concerned, anyway. And when I look at that team, I don't see anything. Sorry, but I don't.
It's a must-win game for Norwich as well, haven't they? I mean, they've lost 3 games. They're bottom, potentially they could be bottom of the league.
True, but they're expected to be down there though. Like that's the thing. They're expected to be down there, right?
But Fark will be on
with Arsenal, it's the opposite. Like we're not expected
to play with passion, won't they? They will play with passion because they believe they shouldn't be there, but reality is they should be there, but they won't believe that.
No.
So if we're not 100% at it, you can damn sure they will be.
Yeah. I don't think it'll be an easy game by any stretch. If anything, it'll be hard fought.
Yeah.
Whether or not these players step up, that's a completely different question, and I'm not even sure that they will, to be honest.
Well,
I've got to find a stream. I mean, debatable whether or not I should find a stream or not, but I probably will find a stream somewhere.
He'sgold.com, HES. I'll send you the link, the name of the website and all that. And it should, from about 10 to 3, it should be up. Should be able to work.
Joys of IPTV, lads. The joys of IPTV.
Anyway, guys. Got to hit the road.
Yeah. No worries, Steve. Where could we find you? Obviously, you'll be back on Sunday as well for the aftermath.
Yeah, the aftermath party. Yeah, I'm on Twitter and I've unblocked Colin now, so apologies for that. I've messaged him to say sorry.
I don't even know why you blocked me though.
I don't know.
That's the thing. I'm racking my brain. Like what?
Check your DMs.
Yeah, there's a sorry.
I'll check them, man. I'll check them. Don't worry about that.
But yeah, and Colin, what about yourself? In your channel, what you got coming up?
Well, we did the Norwich preview yesterday. We also dissected the Edu interview, 40 minutes of breaking that shit down word for word.
But that was fun.
Right? Where, I mean, quite simply, I pointed out what a fraud Edu is. That's the best way to describe it, all right? But, hey, listen, if you want us up to watch Arsenal, by all means do so. By all means. You don't have to watch. You don't have to like it. But you know damn well I'm speaking from the heart every fucking time.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep. And yeah, as I said, I'll be back tomorrow. Hopefully try to sort of panel out for tomorrow's live stream. So that's what's along for the Arsenal Norwich game. 3 o'clock. Yeah, 3 o'clock kickoff on Saturday. Fucking hell. Been a long time coming, but it is what it's going to be interesting. And we'll be going live about just after 2:30. Go for the lineups. Probably slag off Arteta for picking the wrong players again, as we always do apparently. And hopefully, and pray and beg on our knees to the football gods that the team, no matter what, the team tries to turn up this week and actually gets us a win. And we start propelling up the table and send that. You know, as I said at the start of the stream, it's all about not just winning 1-0 or 2-0 or whatever. Sending out a statement that the first few weeks were one of this is where our season actually really does start and all that. And more so for Arteta, it's important for him because, as I said, if we scrape a result or we draw or we lose, the nights will still be out for him. It needs to sort of continue for the Burnley game and the Wimbledon game and then going into the Tottenham game, because it's pretty embarrassing that they're top of the league and we're bottom, and having to see the lots of expressions boast about it on his social media and all that. It's pretty annoying and embarrassing, and I'm not happy about it.
Mate, they're bragging about being top of the league after 3 games. I guarantee you that's falling apart. I guarantee you that it's going to fall on its head. And you know what they'll do? Because this is what they do. They'll make DVDs about it and go, we were top of the league for 3 games. That's what they'll do.
We were top and they were bottom for 3 games. The full 20 minutes.
Their biggest achievement is the Audi Cup,
which is a pre-season tournament for anyone who doesn't know.
Yeah.
Was a one-off, wasn't it? It hasn't even been played since. That says it all. But yeah.
Last time they won a trophy, Jonathan Woodgate scored against Chelsea.
Oh my God, give me strength. Jesus
Jonathan
Christ.
Woodgate.
I was trying to think now. I was what, 17,
That was
18 at the time? I'm trying to think.
2008, yeah.
18, 19 at the time. I'm now 32. Read into that what you will. I was 2 years old when they last won the FA Cup. 91.
Oh.
That says it all. But it is what it is. As I said, I'll be back tomorrow for that around 2:30. And then obviously, as I said already, me, Steve, and hopefully the elusive 2 decided not fuck me over again. I'm going to have to have private words with them because it is getting a bit ridiculous now.
They do exist.
They do exist. We have actually spoke to them. They just don't, for some reason, either by illness or something, they just don't come on. They put out at the last minute. Hence why I'm then running around like headless chicken for the last few hours, trying to organise shit. But the whole point was literally them being on board is that they knew it was a full-time thing. It would be a fight update the day before and the day after, respective Premier League games, this, that, and the other, for an hour, or in this case, 2 hours. They knew the time differences from a UK perspective, and they're just pissing me off at the moment. So I need to have a word with them privately and try and sort that out. Because going long term, I just want a full-time panel. I'm not asking for much, and I want with the odd guests like Colin coming on and Melvin and all that as special guests and things like that. But hey, if they want to continue letting me down, they can bugger off. Because it is getting match day 4. I'm already getting sick of the letdown, especially from the one that never comes on. It hasn't come on once yet, as we both know. Even though he does talk, the person he does talk to us and respond to us most of the time, apart from this time. And it's aggravating as fuck. But hey, it's a joy to run in a channel and trying to run have a life outside of it all.
Don't want Colin to think he's the last choice. You know.
No, and he knows that. No.
Bro, don't worry about it. All right, like I'm busy with other stuff as well. So I don't take that personally. So it's fine. It's only when like I'm invited on as a last minute replacement. That's what pisses me off.
Yeah.
Like, but that's never been the case. So,
Cool.
you know, just don't fuck me off, and we're good, bruv.
Well, I haven't done that once yet in what, 4 years? Because I was initially on your channel briefly.
Yeah.
Before I started this up.
You were doing periscopes when, like,
Well, that first season, we started talking about, yeah.
you know.
Periscoping onto YouTube. I joined the Madhouse. Have I ever regretted it? I don't know. But yeah, as I said, back on Sunday around 7 p.m. UK time to go through the aftermath of whatever happens, good or bad, again. And then midweek, then I've got sort of schedule out for like next week because I've got Champions League back, I think, next week or the week after. Because all that out. And then all the podcasts for the rest of the month and lead up to the international break now. And let's get that schedule sorted. But yeah, in terms of this weekend, I've got a lot of stuff coming. Also, you're going to have the match of the day live stream as well at around 10:25 going live. Obviously, it starts at 10:30 itself, the match of the day itself, but 10:25 gives us time to settle in and get you guys coming in and all that. And yeah, so if you enjoy the rest of your evening, if you have enjoyed this or you're watching this back, if you enjoyed it, do smash that like button and subscribe. It's all free as well. If you've got a bit of time, go back and repeat on Mondays/Sundays three-part podcast, podathon, whatever you fucking call it, and go and donate to Tony's cause, please. That'd be massively appreciated. Otherwise, we're going to have another 24 hours of me at some point. I don't want that, and I don't think you want that either. But until then, guys, enjoy the rest of your evening. Hopefully, pray to God. Even the non-Arsenal fans in the chat, pray to God that Arsenal actually get a result tomorrow.
Yep.
Otherwise, we're in trouble.
All right, guys.
Until then, guys, as always, up the Arsenal. Come on, you guys.
Take care. See you later.